She's busy tonight. Good evening. Welcome to Guna Matters, and let's see what we can come up with tonight. So we've got a new face in the building, and her name is Isa. Isa, tell
Hello.
the family how are you and what you're doing in Arsenal's background. Guna Matters.
I've been an Arsenal fan all my life. I've got a season ticket, had a season ticket for 15 years. Just really wanted to sort of branch out and get into talking more about the football that I love and the club that I love, and join like a Facebook group forum. Got talking to people, and then we got talking, and then the rest is sort of history. So I'm here.
Lovely, lovely, and no stranger to the show. It's Seema. How are you, Miss Mora?
I am great. Thank you very much. I'm so glad we're talking again. It's been like, oh my God, I've been in exile. So,
Yeah, but you've been traveling the world, didn't you?
yeah, I mean, I traveled and yeah, I put my feet firmly on the ground. My son's actually here from Dubai. So that's really nice to have him. Hi, Ange. Hi, Richard. John, sorry. Oh, hi, Emerson. But yeah, so he's here in town, and I do have a son in LA who doesn't live too far from the stadium where they're playing. But
Okay, lovely.
unfortunately, he's not a footy fan. But I just said to him, look, just go and watch them train. You know, see the guys. He's got the Arsenal kit. I said, wear it.
Yeah, yeah. All right, nice to see you guys again, but let's get into this after this music intro. Welcome back, welcome back. So let's greet John. How's it, John? Ange, how's it, Ange? Emerson. Emerson was at the game last night in his bed. So yeah, hopefully he can also set some light on what's happened in that game. So yeah, I've got a few things that I want to talk about, obviously. And those things are pretty much to do with the newcomers and the guys that's going out. So um, I think we've lost Seema again.
She's having
But
internet
none,
problems.
yeah,
She'll be
she's got
back.
a now she'll be back. So Asa, tell me quickly.
Mm.
I don't know if you follow the transfers.
I've been
So
looking at bits and pieces of it, yeah, today.
how does it look for you so far? I mean, we haven't really made any signings bar the lady that came in, and of course the goalkeeper and Raya that has been made permanent.
I think what I've been following mostly today is the stuff with Emile Smith Rowe. I don't know quite how I feel about it yet. The problem is he is not a player that wants to sit on the bench. He's not a player that's going to be like a player in Man City who's happy to be a squad player and get paid what they're getting paid and just sit on the bench. He wants to
Yeah,
play. Um,
correct.
but the thing for me is that I just think it's such a shame, because if you go back, and actually I rewatched it again not that long ago, the Amazon TV series All or Nothing, and I went back and I watched it this year to see retrospectively about what was building that we've seen been building. And it's really interesting because when I saw it to start with, I remember thinking there's something going to come out of this team. And then when I've watched it again last week, the first thing that came to my head was, I think it's a real shame if he is going, because his ball fluidity with Xhaka is sublime. And the fact that they came
Yeah,
through the youth together, them and Eddie, I just think that it's a shame. But I also respect the fact that he sat on the bench. And the problem we've got, and you don't want to say it because you want to be loyal to these young players that have come up through the ranks because of the likes of Saka and what he's been able to achieve. But the other thing is that there's so many players of good position, good caliber, that play in his position. What do you do? Do you make him a rotational player? Then you risk disrupting the momentum of the game, or do you give him a chance at a game where it could be so pivotal, and he makes a mistake and people start screaming at Arteta that they should have played, someone else from the start. So it's really, I mean, he's been loyal. He obviously loves the club. I don't think he wants to go, but I think he knows that if he wants to play, and like I said, he's not the sort of player that will sit on the bench. He won't be a player happy sitting on the bench like at City, like I said, earning his money. He wants.
Yeah. Look, he's still young. I mean, 23 years old, I'm sure. He loves the club. I mean, he's a gunner through and through. And Sima, with you sitting, how does it sit with you? Emile Smith Rowe's probably 1 foot and a toe out of the door.
It's a business, and at the end of the day, the player's going to see what he's going to get in his pocket. What's he going to do? Get half that, sit on the bench, or go for it and prove himself, and then he could even end up getting onto the England team if he becomes really good, because we've seen what's happened with our other players that have gone to Fulham. And sometimes they are from the academy, they're Hale End boys, but at the end of the day, they are reared in Hale End for a reason, and that is so that the club can make money and hence bring in other players. Hence, like,
make us proud, correct?
That we bought. So, who's versatile as well, because he started off as one back and now he's into, something else. So yeah, I mean, I'm all for if he's gonna if he's gonna progress in his career, he's got to move on, like all our other players.
Yeah. So I'm gonna move me down and put you there. I think for him to go to Fulham, and I know Fulham is also one of my teams that I like to watch because they're a good team. They've got a good coach. They've got a good style of football. And if all their players are fit, and I think they're probably losing João Paulino or something to that effect, if they could get him into that starting lineup as a number 10 or 8, I'm sure he can outplay the Pereiras, the Iwobis, the other. I'm not even sure all the guys' name there. And I'm hoping, and I'm gonna say this, and I'm hoping that he does well against Arsenal and the big teams when he plays for Fulham. Should he go there?
But look, Glenn, look at how Iwobi changed from the player he was at Arsenal. He's got meat on him. He's got legs on him. He never had any of that before.
And he's aggressive.
What we're seeing is, sugar, excuse me, it's gone.
Sugar.
I'm having a great time here today. Honestly.
Lovely.
I'm telling the universe, stop it, please, just for another hour. Okay. What I'm saying is that look at how Emile Smith Rowe's physique has changed since he had the injury last season. Well, actually, the season before, because even last season we didn't see him much. We saw him in the odd, the dying sort of like 10 minutes of the game, right? So, his physique has become. It's kind of like he's probably been on the phone to Iwobi, and Iwobi said, you got to beef up a little bit, and he's beefed up. Because he was very lean and mean with Saka and him playing along each other. You couldn't tell them apart, because they were literally in sync with each other. And now it's just, it's just different. But good on him.
Hang. Excuse me, time. Pinky. This is the name that I've been hearing. Pinky. Remember Pinky? I think Larissa's mentioned Pinky and Ange has mentioned Pinky.
Hello, made it. Hi, Pinky.
Welcome, Pinky. Welcome to the show, and I hope you can be where the ladies are sitting next time. Yes. Love from South Africa. Hey, my home's and she will understand what I'm saying when my home's love from South Africa. Sorry, continue.
There is another point here, and I think Seema touched on it as well, is that we had the most incredible international players for such a long time. You think about the Invincibles, you think about the players that have been and gone since and before. The same mentality running through the Premier League, which is one of the reasons why for a very long time, our international team was subpar. But now with the players that we've got, because there is so much more nurturing of homegrown talent. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the international players coming in, but it is sometimes to the detriment of our international team. And I think Seema's right in the point about Smith Rowe going to somewhere and getting international football, because if he is going to get noticed at Fulham and he ends up playing for the England squad and he ends up being a player that we've missed because we have missed something. There's something missing in the England squad. There's no doubt about it. There is something missing. And I think that if these players leaving us, as much as we don't want them to, go on and get the first team football that qualifies them for international, that's only going to help our international team. And for too long, I think that players were coming to the Premier League because we were buying, not only us, but other teams buying all these players because they wanted the quick fix of winning the league. The long-term issue with that is that these players were playing in our league against these players. They were then going to know how to mark and how to manage on an international level. And then now it's dying out, it's coming to something else. And I think that 100%, if it's going to help someone like him get that international, I'm for it, but I so will miss him. That's just how I feel.
Yeah.
Well
I
done.
mean, you know, the thing is, right, actually, you picked up on that point, but I believe that it happens anyway in the Euros, in the World Cup. You know, De Bruyne playing against Saliba, they're going to know each other because, you know, they're in the Premier League playing against each other. So that, I don't think is a big issue. I think it's more in line with the fact that the stronger and the more vibrant the player, the more chance they've got of getting injured. And then they lose out. And then what happens is they come back to their team and they lose their place in the team. Think that's more detrimental. Even though, you want to play for your country, but it's your club that you know, that's your bread and butter, really. And I think a lot of that does come down to it. So, but the fact is that our UK, our England team doesn't have backup players. I mean, this World Cup, they proved it. Ollie Watkins was fantastic, but why wasn't he brought on? Why wasn't
it's your manager.
Brought on?
It's your manager because he's got his favorites. Every manager has his favorites, and I think.
Yeah, but in the England team, it shouldn't be that way because
that's what I'm saying. Because
different clubs, so.
I wouldn't have started Kane in most of the games though. I would have put in either Watkins or I would have put in Tony.
Yeah,
but
Tony,
be that as it may, I think he can come. Now this is my favorite player, which is Emile Smith Rowe of this era of Arsenal.
Yeah.
Now he has been my favorite player, and I've always said he just needs to be kept safe. He needs to be fit. He needs to really be strong, and otherwise we're gonna have to sell him. And that point came now. I'm gonna have probably tears in my eyes when they announced this that he is gone. And 35 million for me is still a little money. However, for the amount of what they've played for, it's quite a bit actually.
We haven't seen him. Where does Edu get to justify 35 million? What has he done for the team in 2 seasons?
But you got to understand, Seema, because of his history, in his young history.
Hey, I've got a great history, but I'm 60 now. But
no, but I'm saying as a
35, you know? Come on.
As a football player, you need to be fit, especially with the quality.
His life's going to be over at 32, so he's only got literally 10
exactly.
years.
I mean,
the problem though, and this is the worry about selling him. There's one mentality that Arteta doesn't do that Wenger did do. And I know that Wenger petered out towards the end, but no one's going to ever be able to deny the genius that man was with Arsenal Football Club. The thing that Arteta doesn't do is because he's not concentrated, he thinks the cups are not important. Let's be totally honest. He's got Champions League, Premier League in his head. The Carabao Cup, which was the Carling Cup when I used to be able, and I've got a special place in my heart for that. But because before I could ever get my season ticket, the only games I could ever manage to get tickets to was the Carling Cup. And I used to love to go. And the amount of young players that we saw that came up through the ranks that played in that competition, the thing that annoys me with Arteta is he doesn't take these 2 cups seriously. They could be your bread and butter for nurturing these young players, getting them the time on the team sheets they want, getting them to play alongside the other first team players, build up that relationship, build up that fluidity on the pitch. But because he's not interested in these.
Yeah.
Man United, no one thought Man United was going to win the FA Cup. Man United won the FA Cup. They're now only one FA Cup behind us. He's got to start taking this seriously, because I don't want to lose that record. And I know people are like, oh, the FA Cup doesn't matter. I love the FA Cup. I went all the way to Wales when we were in the semi-finals of the FA Cup. When they, remember when Wembley was still being built and they played it in Cardiff? I went all the way there to see that. That was the year that we
there for the final.
Was that the year yes, that was the year that we played Man United
at the Millennium, and we played Man City and we lost. I was there when Walcott scored the goal, and then it was Chelsea. It was I went to that's the Chelsea when I went to the Man City at Wembley.
Because I went to that, and then I'm pretty sure it was the same season when we beat Man United when it went to penalties.
I don't remember that part, but I remember going to Wales for the final.
And I've always loved these competitions. And the other thing is, from a fan's point of view, how many times do you see it on various different forums, Facebook groups, or on whatever? You see people say, how can I get tickets? My child has never been. I haven't been for years. If not only Arsenal, other teams invested more in these competitions, not only to nurture their young players, nurture their young fans. Because these young kids want to go to a game and they want to see what's coming up, or they want to see...
but I'm sure they can go. They can go to Boreham Wood and watch the academy players. I go with Emerson, and John went as well. So these young kids can go, because the amount of young kids that are there, be it local, okay, but they do have, parents can get together and do traveling, coaches if they want to. So you can go, and they're free. You don't even pay to get in unless you go to the away matches. Okay,
I've been as well, but what I'm talking about, getting the atmosphere at the Emirates. It's like the women's games now. The atmosphere at the Emirates is electric, and and it's so good that.
By the way, I miss Larissa. I need to know more details about the ladies group, because I haven't caught up with it all. We should have been talking about the England. Oh, look at our players the girls were there.
You're talking about the ladies, the Lionesses.
Yeah,
I haven't seen any much of that though. Just want to see the Pinky is saying, let's be honest, that FA Cup...
the England qualifier was on, wasn't it? And we had 3 of our girls playing in there.
The juniors or the actual Lionesses?
The actual Lionesses.
No, I haven't seen that.
It was a 0-0, wasn't it? So
yeah,
that was about 3 weeks ago.
You guys talking about the FA Cup, and Pinky is just alluding to more of that. Let's be honest, that the FA Cup Arteta got was actually Unai's, and it was his team. It might be harsh, but it's how I see it. And I'm sure that there's some truth into it, because he inherited that team the November before the FA Cup final. So he came in with, you're correct by saying it is Unai Emery's team. I think he tweaked it a little bit, and he made obviously some of the players to do what he wants to do. Therefore, they could play the way they did, and also the cohesion and the momentum they had when Unai left. Obviously, the new manager's bounce it's not a myth, is a reality, and I think that is also where it counts for in the favor of Mikel Arteta. But you are quite right by saying it is basically Unai Emery's team that he took forward to go win the FA Cup in that year of 2020. So I want to talking about the youngsters. You alluded to the youngsters, and I'm so heartsore and sad about this player, Emerson's cousin or nephew. Emerson, I'm not sure, you said something in our group that he's doing well, he's fitting into the Brighton team. And what I'm so gutted to have seen this guy go for free, that is. And if we had really had to let him go, we should have made money from it, because that's a big talent that we've lost. And again, for the same reason, I want to say this: if Brighton plays against Arsenal and he plays in that game, he will run riots around our left back. Because he's that good. I've seen him play, and I've seen what he is capable of, and it's so sad to see that he's gone to a rival. For Pete's sake, man, this is a young guy that can do so much, or that could have done so much more for Arsenal. in the future. It's just that, again, like Smith Rowe, he doesn't want to sit on the bench. And these guys need to get their careers going. Isn't it so, Asa? So, I mean, it's sad. I don't know, Emerson, if you're still in the chat, if you can maybe set some light to how's it going with this youngster. So yeah, I mean, let's even if he plays for a different team, let's still support him as a ex-Arsenal player in his career. And the same for this guy. This guy's also left Arsenal for free. Very, very good defender. He reminds me of Martin Keown and Tony Adams. So great potential that we've lost for free, and to clubs that are really gonna reap the benefit from them. And I mean, 19 years old, both, Asa. I mean, we could have done with these guys.
This is the balancing act, isn't it? It's the fact of that. What do you want? Do you want to go for the quick fix because everyone's desperate to win the league, or do you want to nurture these players so you've got the consistency in years to come, or are you breeding show ponies that you can sell for an expensive price? This is what I hate about what's happened with the amount of money and the influx in football. I know it's a business. I'm not silly.
Yeah.
I don't live in a rose-tinted world where I think, it's all about the game. I know it's a business. But the problem is, how do we can't financially compete we can't financially compete with City. We know that. But the only way that we're going to be able to compete is if we're nurturing these players. But then what happens? You nurture these players, they get a huge price tag because they're doing amazing. We can't keep them because these clubs come along with ridiculous amounts of money. Smith Rowe probably hasn't done enough to qualify that he's worth 35 million. But I personally would rather keep him over the 35 million. But I also understand that they'll put that 35 million towards another striker or another defender. I mean, I don't think we need anyone else in the midfield, but we need another defender, really. But probably someone up front.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, John's disagreeing with Pinky, and he says that he don't agree with that Arteta still had to get the team over the line. Yeah, it was a team he inherited, but for me, Mikel takes the credit. Obviously, he takes the credit because he was there, John. He was still at the helm in that game. But what happened? Yeah, now that gremlin has now come all the way to South Africa, Seema. Well, wait, what is happening here? Okay, there we go. It's taken off. So yeah, I agree to a certain extent, but he really did take over the Unai's team. Let me just see, where's this thing now? Yeah, I can respect that, John. I still appreciate the cup victory. I just wonder whether Unai would have made better with the 5 years Arteta got, especially with. That's some words there, isn't it?
Do you know, my mum and my brother, I got to tell you about this because it's very relevant. They were having a huge ding-dong in a WhatsApp. We've got a family group chat. They were having, I mean, my mum is, Seema, my mum reminds me so, like, you remind me so much of my mum, right? The passion for Arsenal and the way you talk about it. My mum, so my grandmother passed away. My dad had a spare ticket. It was Arsenal, I think it was it Watford or Wolves? I can't remember now, years ago. And I remember my dad took my mum, and to say that it was like that scene out of Fever Pitch where they come out and they see that the boy sees the ground, young Paul sees the ground, and he's in love. My mum, she hated football up to that point. We took her to that game and she was like, when am I going again? And my mum from that point has just been, it's a good 25 years now. And her and my brother were having the biggest ding-dong about Arsenal. My mum was saying it was a disgrace they were selling Smith Rowe. My brother was saying about players coming up the academy and also other players we've got in that position. And then they started having a really interesting conversation that I watched and decided I'm not going to participate in this because I'm going to be wrong one way or another because these, I'm not getting caught in the middle. They started saying, statistically, Arteta's just Southgate. And I was like, where are you going with that? But then actually, if you look at it slightly, they've both got to certain points and just stalled. What is so who So who is causing the storm? Is it? And then I was, like I say, I was just watching this unfold. But the fact that they were all what they were saying, and I thought that's a really interesting point. And I wonder how many people around England, the world, whatever, having the same conversation. Which one is more successful? I suppose you'd say Arteta because of the cups, but then are they his cups or Emery's cups? And it's just it was just a fascinating conversation to me.
Yeah, no, it is true.
Look,
I'm not.
everybody. No, you see, everyone is just bringing in Unai Emery because he's doing so well at Villa. If he wasn't doing well at Villa, what would they be saying? Oh, well, good job we got rid of him. Good job we got Arteta.
Yeah. Have you seen that video of I'll have to put it in our group chat to show you. It's an Instagram reel video, and it is all the Chelsea fans going, "We've done you, Arsenal. We've got we've taken that dead ballers out of the club. A cancer's been removed out of our club.
Yeah, I've seen that.
60 million to you. Like, we've robbed you." And then it's just clips of Havertz just going mad, right?
Yeah.
And you can argue, at the end of the day, the other thing I think that's sore, and I think we can all admit this, is the reason why you look at like the whole situation with Emery is Villa done us over twice last season, right? So people are looking at that and they're going, is that because he knows how to play us, because he used to be a manager of Arsenal? Did he get lucky? No, I just think, to be honest with you, both games, I don't think that we were mentally on point. And I tell you, when I was at the Emirates, the game against Villa, the 2-0, I was just like, that's done now. I was so upset. I remember sitting there.
Ollie Watkins' second goal.
When we went into the club shop before, Liverpool just lost to Palace. They were playing, you know, they have the DJ in the club shop. They were playing Celebration, and I turned to my mum and goes, that's dangerous. Like, why are they doing that? Like, and I just think that the mentality of it was going to be an easy game was a really silly thing to do. And I don't think we should count any game as an easy game, because of the likes of if Smith Rowe's now going to go to Fulham and we're going to lose other players that are going to be the same. There's rumours about Ramsdale going to Newcastle. These players are going to play for their new club. It's a business. They're going to play for their new club the same way they would have played for Arsenal. We have to be aware that this talent we're letting go is going to bite us on the backside.
There, Emerson has said some light that he played yesterday and he scored 2 goals and got 45 minutes under the belt, and Brighton fans will love him. So, I mean, that is that's gonna happen, especially with the talent that we've lost, the talent that we're giving it to other people. They will go there, and like you say, Asa, they will go and play for that club, because that is their job. That will be their even though they love Arsenal. I mean, what is this guy's name? Played for Forest. That striker. He scored against us last season, but he's an Arsenal fan. You know what I mean? So he still celebrates. He still celebrates the goal, but he's an Arsenal fan, and so they will do that against us. I doubt that these guys will maybe celebrate against us, and I won't mind if they do, because if you score a goal, you got to celebrate, even if it is against. And I wish they can celebrate a goal they score against Arsenal, just to stick it to the club and say, you have given me away, and this is what you could have had. And I mean, Smith Rowe did it a couple of seasons ago, 10 goals out of himself. So it's a hell of a thing. But
how do you feel about Charlie Patino coming back?
Another player that I love, but also he wants game time. He's going to want game time. So where's he going to play? He's not going to play
He didn't play well for the other teams. I mean, all the teams didn't play well. I mean, one got relegated. What happened to the other one?
But still, individually, he did a good job. You know what I mean?
Blackpool.
Individually did a good job. Before we're going to go into the chat again, I want to talk about this lady and another person that we've lost. Didn't do much really in the time that she was. I think it was 2 years. 2 years that she's been at the club. Also injury that really kicked her. I think, and you maybe if you're still in the chat, you probably and Emerson could say more light on that.
Even Larissa, she would know. She was talking about her today, I think.
Yes, I think Larissa's got so much work on a plate. She's probably still at work. She didn't respond to my text yet. But nonetheless, so yeah, I think also we have to make room for players that really wants to play, and fortunately for her, she she had a lot of injuries while she was at the club, but good luck to her as well. So I hope where she goes is obviously going to do well.
Yeah, but they have
And
to sell. They had to sell
they
a
have
couple
to.
of pairs for the squad anyway.
Yeah, we've got plenty of females there. Eh?
Yeah.
And then this is I'm just going to run through it. The Raya that I've
That's all.
signed.
We all expected that.
Yeah, no, we did, because it was an obligation, wasn't it? It wasn't an
Yeah.
option; it was obligation.
Yeah.
And then this is the player that I think is going to make our female team very, very good.
Yeah.
She's got a host of. She's rich with trophies. She's rich with experience, and she's going to be the spearhead of the team since we've lost Miedema.
Hey,
She's
she
got
was going anyway. Come on, we knew she was going to go.
yeah,
So.
definitely. So she's got 25 trophies behind her and a World Cup. And what the
Steph.
player?
Is that Steph?
No. It is Mariona Caldente from Spain. She comes from Barcelona. She's for free. She's got a host of goals. I think in over 400 games. She's got plenty experience. 28 years old, a bit old, but I think she will give that team a real boost, and especially with Russo up front together with her and Stina, I think the three of them will bang in the goals next season, and I'm hoping.
Yeah, I think so too.
I'll tell you what I noticed the other day when I was in the club shop, how nice it is to see so many people getting the women's teams shirts with the female player names on there now. You know, and it's really nice to see little girls going and getting, because I think, you know, like I'm probably the worst person to talk about experience this, because I've always gone from a kid, and it never really bothered me that it was male players. It was just Arsenal. And then when the female team started to come really into prominence, I started following them because they were wearing the same shirt. But it's nice now for girls who maybe weren't interested in football before, but have seen the Lionesses and have taken an interest. And let's be honest, Arsenal have always been amazing at promoting their women's team. The history in their women's team is absolutely phenomenal. And so when you see that now, and what I love as well, I can't remember if they did it last season. Maybe someone can remind me. But when you go in the club shop now with the printing, and it had all the men's team, it's got all the women's now too. It's actually got them exactly. So and it's nice to see that Arsenal are acknowledging that there are two teams. There's not one team and then another team. It's that actually it's all part of the Arsenal family, and I think that's lovely.
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, and you will find, Asa, and the people out there, we promote the female football pretty much on this channel. We talk about it. We want to talk about more about the female academy. I think Ange mentioned that they played yesterday as well, the academy ladies. So I think, I can't remember if she said that they played, but she mentioned something to that to me. So yeah, I think the show is more about the female game than anything else. But we also touch on everything. So I'm glad that we've got this player in, and I'm glad that we could see what she brings to an Arsenal. And and then obviously the young goalkeeper, he will probably be more in the ranks of the youth, the academy players. He will be based there, and hopefully breed him into the first team.
Yeah.
And I think that is the signings that we've done so far. And then of course the guy that is very close is this bloke. What do you think about him, Sima?
Yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the fact that, you know, it's an Italian player coming in, you know, and it's going to bring a different vibe, because, you know, we see how the Italians train, and we see how agile they are, and how they, what's the word? Do you know how they go like low on the ball as opposed to, you know, keeping it up, you know? So the type of training that the Italians have is very different to the Spanish. And we saw that in the Euros, even though Italy weren't there, but we saw, you know, how the other teams have really stepped up. So I think he's going to come in, and come on, we are going to have the strongest defense in the league, because we've already got the Rolls Royce. Let's see what he can do.
The Rolls Royce.
Come on.
We got the Rolls Royce, and now we got the, I'm trying to think of an Italian car brand off the top of my head, Lamborghini.
Lamborghini.
Yeah.
So
Well, I
50
don't know.
million.
Gabriel just gets pushed under the carpet a little because he's just as good. So, you know, him and
Yeah.
Saliba are the dream duo.
So 15 million euros is about 42 million pounds, isn't it? If I am corrected. So euros
Yeah,
are roughly, but yeah. So you're at 1.19 euros to a pound or vice. So yeah, it looks about right, 42 million. And for what I've seen, I've never seen him played for Bologna, but I've seen him played in the Euros. And for what I've seen in the Euros, he is a beast. And I'm hoping that he could do well. Although we have had the best defensive plays last season, he's just bringing in better and more defensive quality to our ranks. With Timber being back, Tomiyasu apparently has been injured again. Hopefully he can be back soon.
But
So yeah,
Timber's back, so woohoo!
Yeah, that to me is a very, very, very good signing, and it seems to me again like a new signing. And this is what Mr. David Ornstein is saying: is all agreements is in place for Ricardo Calafiori to join Arsenal from Bologna. 22 years old defender still needs to do medical plus sign, but the deal essentially is done. And if everything goes to plan, aim is for Italy international to link up with AFC in the USA tour. And that's some good news to see him in the Arsenal shirt to play some good football in the USA. Let's go to the live chat again, and I think we've stopped here. The FA is being disrespected by the Premiership. I think mostly, John, it has been disrespected by Arsenal because I think earlier on, Asa mentioned that we don't take it seriously.
I love the FA Cup.
I love it too. Let's be honest, the FA Cup Arteta got was actually okay. We've seen that one,
just very quickly.
Yeah, go for it.
About transfer news. My brother sent me an article actually talking about how Arsenal were targeting Nico Williams.
That's fake news, I think.
No, it there is some reality to it. He's part of the thing. 40 to 50 million. However, the player wants to go to Barcelona.
Yeah, that's the other part of the article. It was on the Sun Sport and the Mirror Sport as well. They were saying that he's definitely a target, but we can't compete with the money that Barcelona will offer.
I think Ornstein has also mentioned that we are interested in him, but haven't made contact really with him. I saw something here from.
Yeah, because he's just won the Euros, so.
Yeah. What does this mean, Seema? Seema, so they're going to be teething problems. Need to get the format. The idea on here is promoting both teams. I don't know what John's saying there. Anyhow, Pinky Una was very unlucky and he came to be the club. Okay, yeah, a very toxic situation with Emerson.
Glenn, when this happens in every club you go to, look at Man United, how they were on Eric Ten Hag's back, and now the ones that were making the noise, with Jadon Sancho and that, he's back in the bloody team. So
definitely.
No one's bigger than the club.
No one is,
right? So they had to be taught a lesson.
They have to,
and unfortunately, the teams were doing so well that the players thought that they were bigger than the club, so they could look at what's his name? Oh my God, the Portugal. Ronaldo.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. So they chased him out of the team.
How the hell was he playing that game?
They went out of that competition. They went out of that competition on sheer hubris because they had players that were in his position that were better than him, but because they wanted to give him his last hurrah, they sacrificed their chance of winning that competition for a player that's, let's face it, he's incredible, but he's over his peak. But to an extent though, I was saying this on the night that we lost the final. I think that Southgate did the same thing with England. He did that with Harry Kane when there were plays. If you want Harry Kane to have his last hurrah, put him on for the last 10 minutes when we're 3-0 up. Don't play him from the beginning at the sacrifice of winning something, and equally other players who are sitting there going, what are you doing? I mean, you know, and I think this is another thing that I think we go back to that Villa game last season when I saw that normally Martinelli will start, Trossard will come on for the last 15-20 minutes. He's an impact sub. He's an incredible player. When it was switched on that game, I looked at my mum and went, this is not going to end the way they think it's going to. They genuinely misunderstood how to play Villa that day. And I think England misunderstood how to play Spain on that day. And I think equally Portugal misunderstood the impact that Ronaldo would have. And it always goes back to the manager. And it's sad to say, because I don't like throwing the managers under the bus a lot of the time. There's more to it than that. But I do think that you see that. And again, it goes back to our point about the FA Cup. We need to start taking it more seriously. And the only person that the ownership falls on that is Arteta. He needs to realise how important it is to the fans.
I think he has. I think if you look at all the games that came after, they had analysed the game. They really had done the homework. Because not the last game, the game before that, I think that was the one where when we went away, I can't remember the name, but you could tell that he was analysing the game because they had switched up and they've been switching sides to also.
Yeah. That's one thing he's really good at, though. I know I sound like I've been like bashing him. I actually love Arteta and I love what he's done and I love the psychology of what he brings. And what I find really interesting is I'm a history teacher. And when I watch that All or Nothing and the tactics he uses, like for the sort of activity, the group building and the ice breaking things, we do them in classrooms. So the mentality that he's bringing in is that the training pitch is not where it ends. There's a psychology in the dressing room. I think he's really, really powerful, and I really do give him credit. But I think sometimes he's missing the mark because maybe he's not listening. But on the same note, I also think, like you just said, he does go back and he rewatches things. I mean, his wife said when he comes home, he just goes in there studying and carries on watching football games. Like he never stops. And I think that credit needs to be given to him as well.
Yeah, for sure, that is. Subscribe to Gunnar Matters, hit the like, and share the video. Something somebody said here was, sorry, man. What's his name? Glenwen, our academy girls played for the under-19s. We have played England, and also Glenwen, we had signed another goalkeeper. Who's that, Emerson? Smash the like, John says. Pinky, the picture you used when talking about Gio was actually a pic of Steph. Was it Steph?
I mentioned the name.
Oh, so yeah, I've used the wrong picture there.
Yeah.
Steph. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you for picking that up. Thank you. Smash the likes and thanks everyone for that. My only concern for Mariona is that she's a Barca player, and how many Barca players come to England and disappoint. Alexandri, guys. I personally was not impressed with Cordina. I think Cordina didn't get game time because of Ruben Moy, because she had a brilliant time there, and therefore Cordina couldn't get into the game, or the injury also plagued her. But yeah, you could correct by saying that Spanish league is not.
I've had delivery. My husband's just brought my can of Coke and slipped it through the banister. Sorry about that.
Yeah, no worries. Barca can easily rotate all season until Champions League. Europe is the only real competition for Barca. Some truth to that, Pinky. You're quite right.
Yeah.
That I've seen. Lucas Nygaard, yes, that's the name. And yeah, that you're correct. They signed another goalkeeper. Emerson, where do the women's academy play? That's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Because remember I said the last time.
Don't they?
I said the last time in the meeting, Seema, is that there was a there was an article 2 years ago that something happened with their academy ground where they train, and I know that is something to do with where they play. But nonetheless, that is the story there. So the players for last night's game, and let me just go through that list of. Did Arno go away? Where is that?
Well, Sky News was talking about Ethan Nwaneri, saying that he's actually ready to come up now into the main team and play. Not full, but get minutes in the game now.
Yeah, the starting lineup was Hein, White, Timber,
Yeah.
A Heaven. Who's A Heaven?
Evans.
And Heaven, like in heaven.
Oh, Aiden Heaven. Isn't it Aiden
Heaven?
Yeah, he's is he the one that hang on, I was reading that article earlier. There's here we go. There's a really good on givemesport.com. I'll put it in the group chat. There's a fantastic article about the top 10 Arsenal academy players coming through. And he was number, where is it? I was reading this earlier. I found it really interesting. So the number one is Ethan Nwaneri. And Aneri, and how do you say his name?
Nwaneri.
Ethan Nwaneri, yeah.
They're saying that he had a 3-0 victory over Brentford. They're also saying that he's got incredible flair. He's very similar in play to, I think they said Odegaard from what I was reading on here. That he's definitely one to watch. The other one that caught my eye was there's a Chido, but there's talk about him leaving. I don't know, there was something about him leaving. I saw.
Well, Aiden Heaven.
Chido.
And Miles Lewis Skelly. That was the other one they were saying.
Yeah, he was also playing. And then Olad Muhammad Salah, I don't know how to pronounce this. Salah Olad Emhand. I'm not sure how to pronounce that.
Isn't he the 16-year-old?
I think so. And then obviously Partey, Nuore, Vieira, and Ketia Nelson. That was the starting, and then Odegaard was there.
But the rumors about him going.
He scored the goal.
Yeah.
He scored, yeah. Odegaard, Jesus, Kivior, Trossard, Jorginho, Zinchenko.
There's a great quote here. There's a fantastic quote. So I love that Aiden Heaven. This is a great quote, right? He said they asked him what it's like to play for the Arsenal Academy. He said, being coached by Jack Wilshere is a cheat code for us because he's someone who has been in our shoes. How great a quote is that? It's a cheat code. I think he's made such an incredible impact. 100%. Yeah. He was a player when he went. I was gutted. I loved Jack Wilshere. I think there was a lot more behind the scenes, but he come back. It's the club that he loved.
Again, the same scenario with Smith Rowe. One of the best talent, prominence in how and what he can do. Injuries really messed him up. Injury has spoiled his game, and obviously, I think he's in his early 30s now, if I'm not correct. I'm not mistaken. And he had to hang up his boots because of his injuries. He couldn't play professionally. I think his last game was he at Rangers or in Scotland or somewhere there? He was playing somewhere there, and he had to come back and do his badges. So, who is Jay Gower?
Oh, I saw that name earlier.
And then Jay Nichols and Rekik and Segal Jr. and then obviously Smith Rowe. Smith Rowe scored behind the scenes game the other day when he was captain coming on. They played at the Colney. So I think.
They wasn't it Leighton?
Leighton Orient, yes. So
I'm quite excited about my godson. I'm not just saying this because he's my godson. He's an incredibly talented footballer. He's currently with Maidstone United, which is not far from where I live. But he had tryouts with Arsenal last year, and he was 14. They said he was too. I'm sure they said he was too powerful for the age group, but he was too weak for the age group above. So he was really in between. And they've said, give us a call when you're older, and then we'll give you another try. Again, they were really, really keen. And he's been a junior gunner. He's been so I would, if I got to see my godson in an Arsenal, I mean, I'd seen him in an Arsenal kit playing. He was at Howe End, and he sent me a photo, and I've got it in a frame downstairs. So I was like, oh my God, my godson in actually out there. But it's really funny because he said the level that they train to, the mentality, the way they drill you, all the things that go on. He said it's not a surprise. I think he said it's 1 in 100 make it is the stat, like 1 in 100 make it, because of what they're looking for and the players that are coming through. And when you look at that list of these players that are coming through, the goals they're banging in, the things that even the other clubs at academy level that are taking notice of them on a professional level, it's insane. So hopefully one day I'll be able to sit here and go, my godson's made the first team. That'd be lovely. Who knows?
There's the name, Jimmy Gower. John says he's a North London boykie and he will crack it. Aiden Heaven, he will make it. Miles Lewis Kelly and Isa Chido. Isa, is that you?
Gone. Okay.
Isa Chido is gone, and there's Salah Idin Mhand. I don't know how to say that. Will need to step up, and the under 21s and the watch the under 21s, the goalkeeper Lucas Nygaard and the Plies. Okay. You have, what is that? You have Matin, Emerson. Super Jack last week and never recognized me. He sat next.
He never knew it.
Yeah, but you must be like Seema, John. You must say, hey, take a picture, man.
Yeah.
Years ago, so funny. I went to Niketown in not Leicester Square, Oxford Circus. I went with my mum and my brother. My brother was 11. I just finished my last exam at uni, and I had the paper with me, the exam questions, like, because they let us take them and whatever. And we went into Niketown, and my mum went, there's Thierry Henry. And it was at the time when we just won it was the Invincible season. So Nike was doing a big thing with their pictures were everywhere. And my mum went, there's Thierry Henry. And my brother went, yeah, mum, he's everywhere. Like, he's officially sponsored. Like, no, my mum went, no, there's Thierry Henry. And we looked over, and he was just stood in Niketown. And there was all these security around him. And my brother I went, oh, let's leave him alone because he's obviously here doing whatever he's doing. My brother just went and walked right over to him, went right past his bodyguards and went, I love you. And he just went, he went, okay. And he sat down with my brother and he was talking to him about why he wore his socks a certain way and like all this sort of stuff. And it was really, really nice. But it was just so funny how no one at first went, yeah, all right, mum. Yeah. Cause she's like, no, he's right over there. But that was really, really cool. He was such a gentleman. He always had the reputation to be really moody, but when you met him as a fan, he wasn't like that at all. And back then, he used to sign his autograph Henri 12 because that was obviously his French number. But if you told him you was an Arsenal fan, he always signed it Henri 14. So I don't think that arrogant to do something like that.
Yeah, no, look, I mean, I'm a fan of Henri, but my favorite player was Robert Perez. Very underrated player, and I think he was mostly under the shadows of Henry and Bergkamp, although he was one of the best in that position. So yeah, I think Robert Perez was my favorite. My wife went to England 2005, and she I don't know if it was the Armory then, but there was an Arsenal shop where she went in, and there was this huge poster of Robert Perez, and she couldn't get it for me. But nonetheless, yeah, he's my best player.
I think the funniest story I have, very quickly, is that my friend was working in House of Fraser, and she phoned me up and went, you like football, don't you? And I was like, yeah. She went, someone called Freddie's in here signing his pants. I went, what? And she went, some bloke called Freddie. He's doing something for Calvin Klein. He's signing boxes of pants. I went, are you talking about Freddie Ljungberg? And she went,
yeah.
That's it. I went, I want an autograph. So she went, I'll get
Freddie.
you one. Because he was signing copies of these. He was doing this Calvin Klein thing. I mean, when you look at the poster now, it's like, blimey, how'd they get away with that? But so she went, I've got you his autograph. So she came around my house that night to give it to me. She signed a pair of pants, men's pants. And I was like, oh, I can't frame this, can I? She's got a pair of Freddie Ljungberg's pants sitting in a drawer somewhere. Not his pants, you know.
I saw something from Ange earlier on, which I missed. Yeah, Mariona scored today and do it for us. So I think there's so much truth that Pinky said earlier on about coming from Barcelona and Spain. And you know what? Let's give her a chance and see what she can do in the shirt. And she's going to wear the number 8, I think. So let's see what she can do in the shirt and how she's going to mobilize. Maybe not just on the pitch as a leader, because she's apparently this hardcore leader, to bring out the academy players that's going to come through and that. So yeah, that is interesting to see how that's going to pan out. Pardon me. Now the last thing I want to say is our next game pre-season would be against Manchester United, which is the 27th, 8 p.m. ET and 1 a.m. BS. That's tomorrow. Will it be this now? 1 a.m. now. This later, a couple of hours from now. I'm hoping I can stay awake. Because United are looking very, very good. They not looking good, but the players they have brought in are very quality players. So I am a bit scared of what's going to happen in the new season. And then we're playing Liverpool on the 31st. And then, then we're playing Bayer Leverkusen on the 7th of August. I think that is our last game. And then you have the Emirates Cup, yeah?
I was gonna go to that, but I had to do something with work, so sadly I wasn't able to. I like going to the Emirates Cup. Again, it's another one of them ones that is really nice to be able to just get tickets for and soak up the atmosphere, especially if you can't go a lot. It's just a really nice. Is it over 2 days this time? I think it's over 2 days, isn't it? The Emirates Cup.
It's over. No, it's not one game.
I'm trying to think. I'm sure it was over 2 days.
Two.
Yeah, it's 2 days.
It used to be. Do you know what? I can't remember because I'm not going. I've decided not to go because I don't like the whole chanting that goes on. It's just all you ever hear is, if you hate Tottenham, stand up. That's all they sing. They don't know anything else.
So when
plugging my ears like this, I was like, God, what did I do?
So
I want to chant. I want to do the real stuff, not Tottenham.
Yeah, last season I didn't go to the first couple of games because I'd broken my ankle. I didn't go to a game till November, and the first game I went back was the Burnley game. And there was this guy in front of me. This is so funny. This guy in front of me, he kept on going like, stand up if you hate Tottenham. And I was like, I literally can't stand up. Like, I've managed to get to this seat. Like, do me a favour. And then he was looking at me going like, he's one of them ones that turns around and waves his arms in the air and tries to get everybody to join in. And you're like, just watch what's going on in front of you. Well, that night, he was on a video. I can't remember if it was AFTV or someone. They got a load of fans singing and he was in the video. And I really innocently commented, oh my God, that's the guy that sits near me that doesn't shut up and tries to get everyone to stand up. And then someone tagged him. And then the next game, he came up to me and went, I'm really sorry. I didn't mean to make you feel uncomfortable. I was like, oh my gosh, you saw that? Like thousands and millions of people on Instagram and you saw that. So that was really fun. But he's really lovely. But you're right. I really hate that stand up if you hate Tottenham stuff. I mean, there's more important things. I don't want us to turn into a club that only cares about Tottenham. You know, like they only care about us.
I found when I went, was it last season, season before? And I was like, do you know what? I'm done. I can't be doing this. It's just, I just stick to the Premier League. You know, forget that one game that we do. So, nah.
I don't tend to
Pinky,
go to away games, but I think I might try to get.
Okay, Pinky.
That's I should have thought it through before telling the Lundberg story. Obviously, I should have thought that this is going to go somewhere else.
When you come, Pinky, you need to sit where I sit because they're always there.
I think I must get some moderators in here. Because
or in other words, I can take a bra along with me and get them to sign it for you, Pinky.
That's what I'm saying. I don't think that they'd get away with doing that sort of thing now. I mean,
I'll make sure it's a bit of a red one, then I'll swing it around. I'll get kicked out of club level.
If you Google the pictures of Lundberg, they were quite risque back in the. I don't think that even the men would get away with doing that now. To be honest, with you.
No, I don't think so. Yeah. Emerson is just confirming as Leverkusen, and then Leon the next one. Pinky.
It was Emerson. It was nice to see them honouring Maria, the Arsenal. On the Instagram, they were honouring Maria, so they had a picture because it was her anniversary. So I don't know if you know, Maria was the lifelong fan who went to all the games.
The elderly lady that passed away last year or the year before.
So I sat one behind, and every game, when the game would finish, we would pick up all the leftover programs, and she would take them and give them to the kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
She was an Arsenal out-and-out fan.
She would just sit there with her flag up there. She'd have her little Instamatic camera, and then she would say, "Come on, the Arsenal!" And then, she would do her own little chant. It was just lovely. Really lovely.
I was gonna add to this one. Pinky saying she said she will faint if she meets Leah Wilson. I share the same sort of view of this. So one of my favorite players of old, she and Alex Scott, and then of course the newbie Russo, Alyssa Russo. I don't know. I'll probably faint myself.
Really? They're just lovely people.
I know, but I mean, look at me.
You're gonna make a picture.
I'll probably faint in their arms.
I think the player that I would get quite emotional if I met is Ian Wright, because he's just been such growing up. He was just
genuine guy,
God to me. I just loved Ian Wright. My two, I think. So my all-time favourite player is probably Dennis Bergkamp. My dad was at that game when he flicked the ball round. My dad was actually there. So yeah, I mean, it's definitely I think Dennis Bergkamp and Ian Wright. Tony Adams as well, but I think Ian Wright's he's a different class, isn't he? Like when you see him talk and stuff, you see him talking to Arsenal fans, and he loves that club. I mean, do you remember him getting told off by Gary Lineker because he was always referring to Arsenal as we? And it was just like, shut up.
Yeah, I think you guys are you have all the fun going to these games. I wish I could go. Pinky, you and I will probably go to the games at Meadow Park or at Emirates, doesn't matter. Pinky, the men wear man bras now. I think we should get to a point where...
I think we need to get off that topic. Let's get off
I'm never bringing that story up again. Right, it's done.
Yeah. All right, ladies, I think we come to that point of saying goodbye before John is going to start with all the knickers and all. Hit the like, people, share the video, and obviously subscribe to Guna Matters. Seema, just one thing from you is, how did Aisha do tonight for first time debut at
very well. So I want to see all my other ladies back on. Joan, I know you're working, but hey, she's going to watch this back. Larissa, get your ass up and come on. And Ange, come on. We need that controversial bits, right? I want that women's game. Larissa's brilliant with it.
Ange with the controversy.
Yes. I love it though. She's brilliant.
My favorite
part. Let's get Catherine on, and let's get
What sort of
Pinky on.
controversy? Now I'm interested. What sort of controversy is this? Just opinions, different opinions.
Just opinions.
Oh, no,
yeah, no, it's
yeah,
nice.
no, he just loves,
I
yeah.
like
That's
to
what I mean.
be.
I was like, what sort of opinions? Not that there's been beef or controversy. I mean, like,
No,
what sort
no,
of-
no, 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 no. Like we're lovely. We love each other. We're an Arsenal family. So.
Yeah, no, we don't go like the guys on the TFT, the football tethers, where they
Yeah.
swear at each other and go off at each other and whatnot. But nonetheless, Asa, your final words. Thanks for being on the show, having a nice debut. Also, I think you've got a very long tongue as well. Like you like to chat.
Yeah, I would say it's my
But
Mediterranean side, but my South London side's just as bad.
it's a good thing. So I mean, it keeps the show going. It keeps the people out there very interested. Asa, I have met so many ex-players and current ones. Okay, Emerson, yeah, no, I'm sure you've got
Best
to
place,
reach out.
Aisha, if you're going, sit with Emerson. outside the media entrance.
Well, we did meet Arsene Wenger. My brother chased his car, right, down Caledonian Road when he was like 13. My mum was like, what are you doing? And he wound the window down and he said, I will give you my autograph, but on one condition. You must never chase a car again. And my brother, yes, Mr. Wenger. No, Mr. Wenger. And he just gave him his autograph. And he went, I'm serious. And he went like that, and the window wound up. And my brother just stood there like, he hasn't chased a car since, so I think we're safe. But,
Professor Wenger. Professor. All right, guys.
Cool.
It was
thank
very
you
nice
so much,
to chat to you guys. And then, of course, we wanted to say thank you to the people in the chat: Emerson, Pinky, John, Ange. I think it was only them. However, we had so many people viewing, but not saying much. But you can have your say, you can have your opinion, and everybody is in here as an opinion, and it will matter, because Guna Matters is not about his own views. It's about you. Your opinions matters more than what our opinion matters. And this is show for you guys. So yeah, ladies, thanks a lot once again. So I will keep you guys posted what's going to happen in the next week or two.
Cool.
But thanks a lot for coming on, and let's be safe. Let's be healthy. God bless, and cheers.
Come on, Arsenal.